That's right, Florida State fans. The Noles win a game, and Corey Clark puts on a jacket.
Aslan's jacket, but whatever.
He saw Aslan's jacket for the occasion. Florida State with a comeback, dramatic, thrilling 22-21 victory against Boston College. Did everything tonight. Avenged last year's embarrassing loss, ended the 3-game blowout streak, and preserved the bowl streak. FSU can extend its consecutive bowl streak to 37 games with a win next week against the Gators. This game had a little bit of everything. Florida State did not play very well early, but the defense kept them in it, and they ultimately get the win.
Yeah, they had 480 yards of offense against a real defense. Cam Akers had over 100 yards rushing. DeAndre Francois threw for over 300 yards. He wasn't good early at all.
About 2/3 of it was on, or nearly a third of it was on that last play.
Well, yeah, but he was good. He was good when he needed to be, I guess you could say. I mean, that was a great throw, and he threw it to the guy. He threw it to my man. He said, you know what? That guy's out there with a DB, nobody else. How about if I just throw it up, see what happens? Just see what happens. And 74-yard touchdown. I think maybe the most encouraging thing, other than the win, to me, is that there was no doubt in my mind, and maybe it's because I'm the Atlanta sports fan, I'm the cynic, that after he scored, that Boston College was going to go right back down the field and kick a field goal. I just thought that was going to happen. And the defense rose up. Now, the kid did drop the pass on second down. That was a big mistake by Boston College. But Florida State, their last 2 drives on defense, after getting kind of torched there in the middle of the game, really kind of bowed up and gave Florida State's offense a chance to win.
Yeah, it really was a crazy game in a lot of ways, in the sense that DeAndre Francois was really bad in the first half, completed less than half of his passes, 2 interceptions. It really, you thought might break the back of the Florida State defense because they had been playing so well. But then he comes back in the second half, made several big plays, and the game-winning throw to Tamarian Terry. Also, defensively, like you said, the first half they played really well, limited A.J. Dillon to about 60-something yards on 18 carries, really kind of bottled him up. Then Boston College got out. They got out to how big was their lead at the 10, 13 points? How big did their lead get? 21-10, 21-7? You're not sure?
No, it's not 21-7.
They got they had 21-10.
I mean, are you watching these
21-13.
Games?
What was the lead?
Yeah,
21-13?
Sure.
You can't help me out.
21-13, then Florida State kicked the field goal to make it 21-16.
But they got an 8-point lead, and Florida State's defense comes back and gets 2 or 3 big stops late. Not just the one when the game was over, but they had to force a punt to get Florida State's offense the ball back.
Yeah, man, and even win or lose, obviously it's a lot better to win. They played physical. Like they didn't let Boston College run all over them. Aslan is right in my face. It's a little off-putting, but I'm looking right into your souls. They were physical after the last 3 weeks of just getting obliterated up front and letting even NC State ran all over them. For them to come back after giving up 300 yards or whatever it was, 350 yards rushing to Notre Dame, and to hold that guy to, 110 yards on 37 carries or whatever it was. I mean, they played really well. He had one long run the whole game. And I just thought, the secondary, 3rd and long, got to maybe tighten that up a little bit. But win or lose, number one, it was good to see the offense kind of look competent for long stretches. And it was good to see the defense be physical, man. The linebackers went and attacked. The safeties came downhill and attacked, and they tackled well, I thought, for the most part. Now, DeKalen Brooks missed a tackle. It was a bad one. But overall, I thought the defense tackled as well as it has in a long time.
Yeah, and they got some real production from the defensive tackles. DeMarcus Christmas played probably his best game of the year. Florida State's defense.
It's holiday season, Ira. It's Christmas season almost.
Brian Burns came up with some big plays. I mean, the defensive line as a whole played really well, along with that entire, the entire defense. They played really well. Other than a few busted plays and some lackluster plays on 3rd and long, they played really well. I think the biggest thing about this game is not only does it preserve the bowl streak, but Willie Taggart and Harlan Barnett have talked all week, the last couple of weeks, about how good the attitude has been from this team despite losing in historic fashion. But to have something good happen on a Saturday, I think it's got to do wonders for them. I mean, you just kept wondering, when is this team going to finally just completely give up? And they not only did they not do that, but they got rewarded with a win. I think that does wonders for them going into the Florida game.
And they didn't make a ton of dumb mistakes. They made a few. Look, I'm not going to, they made a few. Jawan Williams, look, we'll try again in 19, I think. We're going to try it again. We're going to buck up in the offseason and try it again in 19. But they brought in Brady Scott, and they scored 2 touchdowns with him on the field. Brady Scott at right tackle. But, Trey McKitty had a false start. There were some false starts here and there. There was a block in the back needlessly on an interception return. And there was also the hold that Boston College had that was picked up, which is, I believe, Doak Campbell Stadium history. To have a holding call, not like a
might have been college football history.
To just a blatant hold that everybody saw. Nope, we're gonna pick that bad boy up. But Florida State gave up a touchdown on that drive. But then I thought after that really played well. And I'll tell you what, the crowd for what it was, and it wasn't much. And we understand it's a 4-6 football team. At the end of the game, they were a difference maker. I thought they were really loud, and it felt like an old-time Florida State game here for a few minutes.
Well, you talked about the BC drop in the pass. They looked bad in that last. They lost their composure on that last
they
drive.
sure did.
Florida State's defense was playing well. The FSU got the lead back, and then the crowd got into it. It sets up a big one this week. I mean, these are not two great football teams by any stretch. Florida has probably had a better season than Florida State by any measure, but this game is huge. Not only is it for the win streak, what Florida State has done against Florida over the last 7 or 8 years, it would be big for Willie Taggart to get a win against a state rival.
Right.
It would be huge to extend the bowl streak. I mean, this is going to be I wonder what the crowd's going to be this week. I mean, it should be a decent crowd. There's a lot on the line.
Yeah, and I think there'll be some juice for this one. It is Florida, so there's always a little juice. But also, Florida. I know Florida's going to be 12th in the country. They're 8-3 or whatever they are. Man, Florida ain't great, and this is a winnable game. I'm sure the Gators will be favored by a few points, not many. But, Felipe Franks is the quarterback. And what Florida State did today on a predominant run team like Boston College, they showed they could compete and they could slow that down at least. So at least you should feel okay going into this game defensively that you can stop the run a little bit. We'll see, but at least you should feel a little better about things after that win.
Aslan doesn't have his tripod today, so he's looking a little fatigued there holding the camera. One thing I did want to say, though, Cam Akers, and I know you talked about it in Willie Taggart's press conference, Cam Akers looked like Cam Akers again. These last 2 or 3 weeks, he started to
Notre Dame too,
show some signs of it, but really, that long run that was by far the best run he's had all season.
Yeah, and he ran hard on other runs too. Like he just missed scoring on a couple of plays before they ran the crazy receiver pass that DJ needs to throw away. But he looked like it's not just the 55-yard run. I think he had 10 for 49 or something before that run, which I know that's 5 yards of carry. It's not great shakes at Florida State, but for this team this year, that's a miracle. So him rushing for over 100 yards, Terry receiving for over 100 yards, throw it up to my man, and Francois throwing for over 300 yards. It's like a real offense, man.
Really
a real offense, folks.
Christmas did come early, Corey.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to wrap it up from Doak Campbell Stadium. Be sure to check out warchant.com. We've got videos from a lot of the players, a lot of strong comments from the players. Stanford Samuels, a couple of the other players talking about how they took it personally, that Boston College thought they were going to run it down their throats. After last season, they stood up and answered that challenge. A lot of good coverage. You'll have a column.
I'll have a column about the play, It's kind of the Greg, if Florida State ends up winning on Saturday, that could be like the Greg Reed 2009 punt return, that throw to Tamori and Terry, and what it meant for this bowl streak and for this program. Otherwise, it was just a cool play and a bad season.
But we still got to see the jacket. For Corey Clark and Ira Schoffel and Aslan Hajavandi signing off
Does that look
from
natural?
Doak Campbell Stadium.